Imagine your absolute favorite pop star.
Right.
Someone with millions of obsessed teenage fans. Someone whose face is plastered on billboards literally everywhere.
The kind of fame where every single movement is tracked and analyzed.
Exactly, like worshipped.
Yeah.
Now imagine that level of unfathomable fame, but localized to a single region where cinema isn't just entertainment, it's practically a religion.
Yeah.
And imagine this beloved superstar decides it's time to transition from the silver screen into real-world politics.
Yeah.
The grueling, bare-knuckle arena.
Which is the huge leap.
Huge. So he steps up to the podium at this massive, highly anticipated rally. The energy is just electric. And he delivers this speech using a culturally resonant, almost mythic metaphor to explain his vision for the state.
And let me guess, the crowd goes absolutely wild.
Oh, they lose their minds. The internet immediately explodes with praise. It seems like a flawless cinematic political debut,
Yeah.
but then a reality TV star, someone who is known for being deeply polarizing, posts a video critiquing that exact speech. She points out a fatal flaw in his metaphor, a flaw that concerns basic physical safety. And within 24 hours, that single critique triggers a massive, highly toxic digital war.
Wow.
And as this online battle rages, it drags in the haunting, visceral memory of a very real, very recent tragedy.
Yeah.
Tragedy where 41 people actually lost their lives.
I mean, that sounds like the plot of a high-stakes political thriller, something you'd binge watch over a weekend.
Totally.
But this isn't fiction. This is exactly what is unfolding right now in the political landscape of Tamil Nadu.
Yeah.
And it is a fascinating, wildly complex situation. It serves as this pristine microcosm for the world we live in today. You know,
Yeah.
It shows us what happens when the impenetrable armor of celebrity collides with the messy, unforgiving reality of actual governance.
And that is exactly our mission for this deep dive. We are going to unpack this incredibly volatile intersection of celebrity fandom, digital harassment, and grassroots politics. We're using the ongoing, highly public clash between the legendary actor turned politician, the Lapathy Vijay, and the social media personality, Maria Juliana.
Who most people just know as Julie.
Exactly, Julie. We're using their clash as our lens to understand this whole phenomenon.
And to do this properly, we are drawing on a really diverse stack of sources today.
We have some heavy hitters.
We do. We have a dense socio-political academic analysis titled The Digital Panopticon and Populist Hegemony, which provides some incredible theoretical frameworks.
Yeah.
We're also looking at digital news reports from South News and the Hindustan Times to ground us in the cold facts, the timelines, the legal fallout.
The on-the-ground reality.
Exactly. And perhaps most interestingly, we are diving into the raw digital spaces themselves. We've got Reddit threads from Rivik Bostomil and translated transcripts of the actual viral YouTube videos that sparked this entire controversy.
So we are looking at the raw data of public opinion right alongside the academic theory. Now, before we jump into the deep end, I need to make a very important statement. Because our sources contain politically charged content spanning different political factions, specifically the TVK and the DMK, we want to make it absolutely clear we are not taking any sides.
Right.
We are impartially reporting on the content provided to convey the ideas in the original source material without endorsing any specific viewpoint.
And that is a crucial baseline for us to establish today.
Absolutely.
We are here to analyze the mechanics of the discourse. We are not here to champion one political ideology over another. Our focus is strictly on the sociology of this moment, the architecture, how power is built and defended, and how digital ecosystems operate when a beloved cultural icon is challenged by a dissenting voice.
Okay, let's unpack this from the very beginning. We need to set the scene for you. It's early 2026. The actor Vijay has officially launched his political party.
Tamalika Vetri,
or TVK for short. He is positioning this party as a third way, a fresh alternative to the ruling DMK party in Tamil Nadu. But for anyone listening who might not be familiar with South Indian politics, we really need to understand the gravity of this.
Massive.
Why is an actor starting a political party such an earth-shattering event there?
That is the perfect place to start, because without that context, this just looks like a celebrity vanity project.
Right.
In Tamil Nadu, the pipeline from the cinema screen to the chief minister's office is practically an institution. It goes back decades.
Like who?
Well, you have legendary figures like M.G. Ramachandran, or MGR. He used his on-screen persona as the ultimate champion of the poor to build a massive political base.
Okay.
Then you have his protege, Jallikattu. She also transitioned from silver screen idol to a formidable multi-term chief minister. In Tamil Nadu, cinema and politics are deeply intertwined. Film fan clubs literally often act as grassroots political cadres.
So when Vijay, who is affectionately known as Thalapathy, which translates to commander, when he announces his entry into politics, he isn't just trying something new.
No.
He is attempting to ascend to a deeply ingrained cultural and political throne.
The expectations are astronomical.
Right.
He is stepping into a lineage of titans, and he knows he needs to capture the youth vote, the Gen Z energy, to present himself as the antidote to the old guard.
Which brings us to his massive campaign rally in Vellore. This is where he delivers what is now the infamous Kudi story.
The Kudi story.
It translates to short story or parable, right?
Yes, and it has been a staple of Vijay's public persona for years. Even during the audio launch events for his blockbuster films, he would always pause the spectacle to tell a Kudi story.
Like a little campfire moment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A simple, folksy narrative containing a moral or philosophical lesson for his fans. It's a brilliant rhetorical device.
But wait, why is it so brilliant? Is it just about sounding wise?
It's about cognitive ease.
Oh, interesting.
A Kudi story packages incredibly complex ideas like systemic corruption, political strategy, moral philosophy into highly digestible, easily shareable cinematic moments.
So anyone can grasp it.
Yes, it allows him to speak to millions of people across varying levels of education and political engagement. And it makes them all feel like they are in on the secret.
I see. And this specific Kudi story at the Vellore rally was a masterclass in that kind of packaging. Let me break down the metaphor he used.
Go for it.
He asks the massive crowd to visualize a busy four-road junction. Right in the center of this bustling area is a wild, raging Jallikattu bull. It's kicking up dirt, snorting, completely terrifying everyone.
Absolute chaos.
Right. The area needs to get back to normal, but nobody can tame this massive animal. So some experienced older men who claim to have tamed bulls before step up. They think, we have the experience, we know how the system works, we can handle this.
But they fail.
They fail miserably. The bull tosses them aside, leaving them battered and injured on the ground.
We should probably pause here to really paint the picture of what a Jallikattu bull represents, because it's not just a standard farm animal.
What makes it different?
Jallikattu is a traditional bull taming sport in Tamil Nadu, usually played during the Pongal festival. These aren't your typical rodeo bulls. These are specific indigenous breeds like the Kangayan bull.
Okay.
They are massive, incredibly muscular with shark horns. The sport involves a crowd of men literally trying to grab the hump of the bull and hold on for a certain distance or time.
That sounds chaotic and incredibly dangerous.
Yeah, it is deeply dangerous. The air is thick with red dust, the noise of the crowd is deafening, and the physical force of a terrified or aggressive bull of that size is lethal.
Wow.
People routinely gored, trampled, or suffer severe blunt force trauma. But culturally, Jallikattu is a deeply revered touchstone.
It's part of the identity.
Exactly. It represents valor, agricultural tradition, Tamil resilience. So when Vijay invokes a raging Jallikattu bull, he's invoking a primal, deeply emotional image of chaos and power.
Okay, so the old, experienced men are defeated by this primal force. Then the story continues. A young boy casually strolls into the junction. The crowd mocks him.
Naturally.
The older, injured men tell him he's an idiot and he's going to get himself killed. But the boy doesn't listen. He just walks right up to the raging bull with his hands in his pockets.
Cinematic flair.
Very cinematic. And here's the twist. As the massive bull charges, the boy pulls out 2 bundles of green grass he had hidden in his pockets. He realized the bull wasn't angry, he was just hungry. The bull eats the grass, calms down instantly, and the boy leads the massive animal away as gently as if he were walking a child. The traffic clears, the chaos ends, and the boy is a hero.
I mean, it is a perfectly constructed narrative arc.
It really is.
And the political mapping that Vijay provides immediately after telling the story leaves absolutely no room for ambiguity. He explicitly decodes the metaphor for his audience, ensuring everyone understands exactly who is who.
He spells it out.
He does. The wild, raging Jallikattu bull. That represents the chaotic, corrupt political arena of Tamil Nadu.
Makes sense.
The experienced older men who get tossed aside, those are the seasoned veteran politicians and perhaps the public who have tried and failed to fix the broken system using traditional methods.
And the young boy, let me guess.
The boy, Vijay declared, represents the TVK, his own new youth-focused political party.
Ah, of course.
The boy represents the pure, untainted energy of Gen Z. He is saying that his party sees the real root of the problem and can solve it effortlessly without relying on the old, failed methods of the political establishment.
It's an incredible piece of political theater. He's basically saying all these veteran politicians have been doing it wrong for decades, but my new party, with our fresh perspective, can tame this wild state easily.
Exactly.
And he didn't just stop at the metaphor, right? He went on the offensive against the ruling DMK party and Chief Minister MK Stalin.
He did.
He called Stalin's governance a super stand-up comedy. He compared the DMK to an empty milk jug, making a lot of useless noise. He framed the upcoming 2026 election as an epic cinematic war between pure power, representing his party, the TVK, with their whistle symbol, and evil power, representing the DMK.
This is where the academic paper's concepts of populist hegemony really comes into play.
Let's break that down.
Hegemony, in sociological terms, isn't just about dominating through force. It's about dominating through cultural consent.
Meaning people agree to let you lead.
Yes. It's when a leader creates a narrative that becomes the accepted common sense of the masses. Vijay is attempting to establish a populist hegemony by seamlessly transitioning his cinematic redeemer persona into the political sphere.
I see.
He is using the exact same archetypes that made his movies blockbusters. The lone, pure-hearted hero taking on a corrupt, deeply entrenched system, armed with nothing but righteous intent and street smarts.
But here's the thing about cinematic metaphors. They look great on screen, but they are incredibly fragile in the real world.
Very fragile.
In a movie, when the hero feeds the bull grass, the bull is guaranteed to calm down because there's a script. The director yells cut if it goes wrong.
Right, yeah.
In reality, dealing with raging bulls, both literal and political, is unpredictable. And all it took to shatter Vijay's illusion was one person pointing out a glaring, dangerous flaw.
Exactly. Enter the critic. And importantly, not just an anonymous internet troll, but a critic who actually made her entire name protesting for the real bulls.
We need to talk about Maria Juliana, or Julie.
Yes, Marie Juliana is such a fascinating figure in this ecosystem. To understand why her critique struck such a nerve, we really have to explore her complex public identity.
Because she didn't start out as a reality TV star, did she?
No, she did not. She first burst into the public consciousness during the massive 2017 Jallikattu protests at Marina Beach in Chennai.
What was the context there?
We need to understand the scale of those protests. In 2014, the Supreme Court of India banned Jallikattu, citing animal welfare concerns. By 2017, the frustration had boiled over.
People were angry.
Very. Millions of young people, students, professionals, gathered at Marina Beach in a leaderless, massive, peaceful protest demanding the ban be lifted. It was an unprecedented wave of Tamil cultural pride.
And right in the middle of this massive historic movement was Julie.
Yes.
She wasn't a politician. She was a regular middle-class woman, a nurse, actually. But videos of her went viral. She was fearlessly leading chants, calling out politicians by name, and demanding action with this incredible raw energy.
She was a phenomenon.
The public loved her. She was dubbed the Veera Tamazachi, the brave Tamil woman. She was a genuine grassroots hero.
She represented the authentic, unvarnished voice of the streets. But that pristine, heroic image was incredibly short-lived.
What happened?
The turning point was her participation in the very first season of the reality show Big Boss Tamil, hosted by Kamal Hassan.
Ah, reality TV. The great destroyer of nuance.
Precisely. The transition from an unscripted, organic street activist to a contestant in a highly manufactured, psychologically intense environment was jarring.
I can imagine.
Viewers saw a completely different side of her. Inside the Big Boss house, under the pressure of the cameras and the game, she was accused of being manipulative, of lying, of playing people against each other.
Yikes.
The public backlash was severe and immediate. The very people who had elevated her as a cultural icon suddenly labeled her as fake.
Her fall from grace was brutal. It's a classic reality TV narrative arc, but it had devastating real-world consequences for her credibility.
Absolutely.
So fast forward to 2026.
Yeah.
Vijay gives his Kudi story speech about the bull. And Julie, watching this, decides she has something to say. She posts a viral video response to Vijay, and she does not hold back.
No, she doesn't. Her critique is incredibly sharp because it punctures the cinematic illusion Vijay is trying to create.
What does she say?
She essentially tells him that his party has many minor, meaning underage or very young supporters, and she warns him, sarcastically but firmly, that these young fans might take his parable literally.
Yes. I have the quote. She says, "You casually say that if you show a bundle of grass to a standing Jallikattu bull, it will act like a child and walk away with you. What if one of your minor fans actually tries this?"
She points out the insane danger of the metaphor.
Exactly. If a kid actually tries to feed grass to a raging, terrified Jallikattu bull in real life, they aren't going to look like a hero. They are going to get severely injured or worse.
And then she delivers the line that really set the internet on fire.
Oh, this line.
She says, "Don't turn 50 into 500.
"Don't turn 50 into 500. That gave me chills when I read the transcript.
That's powerful.
She's referencing past casualties, the real-world deaths and injuries that have occurred in chaotic crowds and poorly managed Jallikattu events. She's begging him, please don't ruin the hard-fought permissions we won for the sport of Jallikattu with careless rhetoric. Speak responsibly."
What's fascinating here is the clash of these two very specific archetypes.
How do you mean?
On one side, you have Vijay, the cinematic redeemer. He operates in the realm of metaphor, emotion, grand narratives. His words are designed to inspire, to uplift, to cast a vision. They are not designed to serve as a literal safety manual.
Right.
On the other side, you have Julie, the commoner. She is grounding his cinematic poetry in physical, dangerous, messy reality. She is reminding him that his words have kinetic energy in the real world.
Imagine your favorite pop star, someone with millions of obsessed teenage fans, gives a passionate speech and says, "If you truly believe in yourselves, you can jump off a cliff and fly. I do it, and you can too."
Okay, a bit extreme, but yeah.
Now, obviously, it's a metaphor for taking risks and believing in yourself. But then a local safety inspector watches the speech and posts a video saying, "Excuse me, you have a lot of very young, impressionable fans. Please don't tell them to jump off cliffs because someone might actually try it and die."
And how would the fans react?
The pop star's fans would be furious at the safety inspector for ruining the vibe and not getting the metaphor.
That is a highly accurate analogy. The safety inspector is breaking the spell. And in a political culture built on spellbinding rhetoric, breaking the spell is treated as an act of treason.
Wow.
Julie's critique penetrated the protective celebrity bubble for three reasons. It was intensely logical. It was grounded in her own legitimate history with the Jallikattu movement, and it highlighted a massive blind spot in the leader's messaging.
But wait, isn't political pushback normal? If you attack a political leader, their base is going to defend them. How do we differentiate between a passionate political base defending their leader and a toxic digital swarm?
That is the critical distinction. A political defense argues the policy or the idea. A toxic digital swarm seeks to annihilate the person.
Oh.
And when you poke a cinematic god in Tamil Nadu, you don't just get a few angry tweets debating the merits of your argument. You summon a coordinated digital army. Mobilization of Vijay's supporters against Julie was immediate, and it was terrifying.
The sources from South News and the academic analysis detail how Julie was subjected to a deluge of threatening and abusive messages.
Constant.
And crucially, a massive portion of this harassment originated from fake profiles and bot networks.
Yes, the use of bot networks is a staple of modern digital warfare. It creates the illusion of a massive, unified majority.
Making her feel totally isolated.
Exactly. The online space transformed into a war zone within hours. But let's look at the specific nature of the attacks, because that tells us everything about the mechanics of this swarm.
I read through the Reddit threads from P. Big Bostimal and the translated comments on the YouTube videos covering this. The nature of the attacks was deeply, deeply misogynistic.
They weren't arguing about the bulls.
No, they weren't arguing about the safety of bulls at all. They were attacking her physical appearance. They were mocking her, saying she had Botox and lip fillers, making comments like, "I can see that she's yapping, but her face ain't moving."
This brings in a crucial sociological concept from our academic source, which refers to it as character assassination through past association.
Meaning they use her history against her.
Yes, because the attackers cannot logically dismantle her core argument, which is a basic, undeniable point about physical safety. They pivot entirely to attacking her credibility based on her reality TV persona.
They just deflect.
They weaponized her past on Big Boss to argue that she is inherently untrustworthy, manipulative, and fake.
It's the ultimate ad hominem attack. They are saying, you can't trust her warning about the bull because she lied on a reality show 9 years ago.
It's wild logic.
But in the echo chamber of a fandom, it's highly effective. And it wasn't just anonymous trolls hiding behind egg avatars. Public figures, people with their own platforms, jumped in to defend Vijay and attack Julie.
Yes, this is what the sources call the proxy war narrative.
The proxy war.
The proxy war is a fascinating dynamic. When a supreme leader is attacked, they rarely stoop to respond directly. It diminishes their aura.
They stay above the fray.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They let their proxies handle the dirty work. We saw this with several figures aligned with TVK. Let's look at the response from Arun Rajan, a well-known serial actor. His rebuttal wasn't just defensive, it was incredibly revealing of the underlying social structures.
His video was astounding. He basically told Julie that she completely misunderstood the metaphor. He said that Vijay's speech was high-level political intellect that was simply beyond her comprehension.
So condescending.
Beyond condescending. He accused her of thinking she owned the copyright to the word Jallikattu. But the kicker, the part that really exposes the misogyny, was how he ended it.
What did he say?
He told her, "My sister, don't you have other work? You just got married. Go spend time with your husband. Be happy. Don't unnecessarily drag our brother into controversies."
It's a classic textbook patriarchal dismissal.
Unbelievable.
It translates directly to Nye. Political discourse is for men, specifically men of high intellect. You, a woman who just got married, should return to the domestic sphere and leave the serious business of statecraft to us.
He brought up her marriage on purpose?
Yes. He intentionally mentions her recent marriage to Mohammed Ikram in January 2026 to firmly contextualize her within a traditional domestic role. He's implying that her participation in public political debate is somehow unnatural or neglectful of her wifely duties.
It is infuriating to watch. And it didn't stop with him. Another Big Boss alumna, Sanam Shetty, also made a video.
Oh, right. Sanam Shetty.
She claimed that Julie was only doing this for cheap publicity, that it was a calculated personal attack just to get her name back in the headlines. And then, if you look at the Reddit threads, there are accusations that are explicitly political and deeply insulting.
Like what?
Users were calling Julie a member of the Payton Brigade or accusing her of receiving 200 rupees.
We need to unpack that slang because it carries a lot of weight.
Okay.
Payteam Brigade refers to people who are paid via the digital payment app Paytm to post specific political opinions.
Ah, I see.
And 200 rupees is roughly equivalent to $2.50 US.
$2.50, that's it.
Exactly. Accusing someone of being in the Payteam Brigade or doing it for 200 rupees is a way of completely stripping Julie of her dignity.
It's so demeaning.
They aren't just saying she's a corrupt political operative, they are saying her morals and her voice are incredibly cheap. It's local digital slang that implies she is a paid agent for the ruling DMK party, hired to sabotage Vijay's rising political momentum.
So she can't just have an opinion.
Right. It strips her of any independent agency.
Yeah.
In their narrative, she can't possibly just be a concerned citizen with a valid critique. She must be a cheap, paid operative in the enemy.
So paint the picture of where we are at this moment. Julie is facing thousands of abusive messages. Her physical appearance is being mocked. Her past mistakes are being dragged up. Actors are publicly telling her to go be a good wife and shut up.
And thousands of people are accusing her of selling her morals for $2.
Faced with that kind of overwhelming, toxic digital harassment, most people, honestly, myself included, would probably just delete the video, lock their accounts, and hide until the storm passes. The psychological pressure must have been immense.
And that is exactly what the digital panopticon is designed to achieve.
The panopticon.
Think of Jeremy Bentham's panopticon. It's a concept for a circular prison where a single guard tower sits in the center. The guard can see every single inmate, but the inmates can never see into the tower.
That's terrifying.
Because they never know exactly when they're being watched, the inmates eventually start policing their own behavior. The fear of observation becomes the prison.
Wow.
In this digital war, Vijay's massive fan base acts as the guards. Critics like Julie are forced to self-censor to delete their critiques because they know the mob is always watching and the punishment is swift and brutal.
But Julie didn't self-censor.
No, she did not. And this is the pivotal moment in the timeline. Julie's refusal to back down is what elevates this from a minor internet spat into a significant socio-political event.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Julie drops the second video, and it is highly combative.
She doubles down.
She explicitly states she will not delete the first video. She refuses to retract a single word. She looks right into the camera, staring down the panopticon, and challenges Vijay directly.
Bold move.
She calls out his fans, comparing them to dogs biting her. She says, "I will be at home or at the office if you wish. Come and meet me in person."
That line is extraordinary. Let the weight of that sink in.
Yay.
She is mocking his cinematic bravado.
Yeah.
She notes that he is hiding safely in his Pontier residence or his party office, letting his digital army do his fighting for him. She is challenging the very core of his hero persona.
She's calling his bluff.
She demands that if he wants revenge for her critique, he should come and face her directly, but he must leave her family and her associates out of it.
"I am still alive and able to speak for myself." That's what she said. It's such a bold, defiant stance. It is incredibly rare to see a lone social media influencer, especially a woman with a controversial past who knows exactly how brutal the internet can be, stand her ground so firmly against the massive, coordinated machinery of a superstar's fan base.
If we unpack the legal and psychological weight of her second video, we uncover the fundamental tension TVK is facing as a new party.
What's that?
Julie is successfully highlighting the critical difference between a political identity and a fan identity.
Okay, break that down.
A political identity is ideally rooted in ideology, policy debate, and democratic friction. You debate the ideas. A fan identity, however, is rooted in religious-like devotion, emotional attachment, and the unconditional, unquestioning defense of the idol.
And when those fans are repurposed as political cadres, as the TVK has done by turning the Vijay Makal Iyakam, his fan club, into a political party, things get dangerous fast.
Precisely. When fans act as a political militia to suppress dissent through intimidation, the democratic space shrinks. Julie's challenge exposes the uncomfortable fact that Vijay's support base is operating much more like a mob silencing a critic than a mature political party engaging in debate.
Have authorities noticed this?
Yes. The Madras High Court has actually noted this phenomenon before. How fan bases spin false narratives to pit themselves against critics or the government, creating chaos that is nearly impossible for local authorities to police. Julie is forcing the public to look directly at this militia behavior.
But why was the reaction so visceral? Why did a simple warning about physical safety and poor planning strike such a deep, uncomfortable nerve for Vijay's party right at this very moment?
That is the big question.
The vitriol seemed almost disproportionate to the critique. To understand that, we have to look beyond the metaphor of the bull. Because Julie's warning echoed a very real, very recent, and incredibly tragic administrative failure. We have to talk about the Kurur tragedy.
This is where the narrative shifts from the theoretical digital realm to physical, devastating reality.
It's sobering.
The academic analysis and the news reports from the Hindustan Times emphasize that Julie's critique absolutely cannot be viewed in a vacuum. It occurred in the dark shadow of a massive administrative crisis for the TVK.
We need to spend some time on this because it is the anchor of the entire controversy. On September 27, 2025, just a few months before this online war, the TVK organized a massive public rally in Kurur.
Right.
It was supposed to be a colossal show of strength, a demonstration of their mobilizing power. But the crowd control and logistical planning were completely, catastrophically inadequate.
Organizing a rally of that magnitude requires immense logistical expertise. You need clear entry and exit points, barricades that can withstand massive pressure, medical triage tents, adequate water, and trained crowd management personnel.
Which they didn't have.
According to the reports, the Kurur rally lacked nearly all of these essential elements. The venue was bottlenecked. When the crowd surged to catch a glimpse of the leaders, the situation rapidly devolved into chaos, resulting in a severe stampede.
And we need to be clear about what a stampede actually is. It's not just people tripping and being trampled, though that happens.
What's much worse?
It's often compressive asphyxia. The crowd becomes a fluid dynamic. People are crushed against each other so tightly that they literally cannot expand their lungs to breathe. It is a horrific, terrifying way to die.
Yes.
And at the Kurur rally, 41 people died. 41 lives lost at a political rally.
It is a staggering loss of life and an undeniable, catastrophic failure of event management. The political fallout was immediate. Following the tragedy, the TVK was forced to pause all public programs for 2 weeks, releasing a formal statement citing pain and sorrow.
But the legal machinery of the state also stepped in.
Right, the police filed FIR's first information reports. The Kurur West District Secretary, Mathia Hagan, and a town functionary, Pawan Raj, were arrested and remanded to judicial custody for criminal negligence.
And it went higher up the chain, too. The TVK campaign general secretary, Adhav Arjuna, was booked for cybercrimes because he allegedly posted messages inciting Gen Z resistance against the government. He was attempting to shift the blame away from the party's own failures and frame it as a government conspiracy.
The response from Vijay himself is highly scrutinized in our sources. As the leader of the party, the ultimate responsibility rests with him.
How did he react?
He released a video message addressing the tragedy. However, instead of taking accountability for the logistical failures, he vehemently denied any wrongdoing on the part of his party.
So he deflected.
Completely. He blamed the DMK government and Chief Minister Stalin, claiming they deliberately failed to provide proper venues and adequate police security for the event.
And then he made this incredibly defiant dare to the government. He said, "Do anything to me, but don't lay a hand on them," referring to his arrested party cadres.
If we connect this to the bigger picture,
Mm-hmm.
you suddenly understand exactly why Julie's video was so explosive.
Right.
When she looked into the camera and said, "Don't turn 50 into 500, she wasn't just talking about a hypothetical scenario with a teenager in a bowl.
Oh, wow.
She was pointing directly at the 41 dead bodies in Karur.
Yes. She was saying, your rallies are already getting people killed because of poor planning and inadequate foresight. Stop using careless rhetoric that could get even more people killed.
Her critique wasn't just a nitpick of a metaphor. It was a targeted, devastating indictment of TVK's actual organizational competence.
That reframes everything, and that strikes at the very heart of the paradox of populist leadership. Vijay's Kudi stories promise safety, brilliant management, and elegant solutions like the boy effortlessly taming the bull with a handful of grass.
It's a nice story.
He is selling the illusion of absolute, unwavering competence. But the physical reality of his political operation thus far has resulted in chaos, stampedes, and death. There is a massive, gaping chasm between the cinematic promise he sells and the administrative reality he has delivered.
Think about this in a context outside of politics. Imagine a CEO or a startup founder who gives incredibly inspiring, charismatic speeches. They cast a brilliant vision, they motivate the troops, but they completely fail at basic logistics.
They can't execute.
They can't organize a functional meeting, they don't understand the supply chain, and the company is bleeding money. At what point does that inspiring rhetoric stop being visionary and start becoming actively dangerous?
That's a great point.
When the stakes are human lives, as they are in politics, the demand for basic administrative competence must supersede the demand for entertainment.
And the Karur tragedy wasn't an isolated incident of mismanagement, was it? Our sources also detail the iftar controversy, which further compounded this growing narrative of administrative incompetence.
Yes, the iftar event is another crucial data point. According to a detailed report from the Times of India, the Tamil Nadu Sunath Jamaat filed a formal police complaint against Vijay over a recently organized iftar event in Chennai.
What's iftar?
Iftar is the evening meal with which Muslims end their daily Ramadan fast at sunset. It is a deeply pious, spiritually significant event. But the complaint alleged that the TVK organized event was horribly mismanaged and fundamentally disrespected the religious sanctity of the occasion.
The specific allegations in the report are quite damaging. The Jamaat claimed that individuals described as drunkards and hooligans were allowed to bypass security and attend the pious event, causing chaos, disrespecting the prayers, and insulting the Muslim community members present.
And there was the issue with the security.
Furthermore, they heavily criticized the use of foreign security guards who were reportedly completely insensitive to local religious customs and sentiments.
Using foreign security guards who do not understand the local cultural nuances at a highly sensitive religious gathering is a profound logistical error. It demonstrates a disconnect from the very people the party claims to represent.
It's tone deaf.
It is a terrible look for someone claiming to be the authentic grassroots savior of Tamil Nadu. The Jamaat specifically pointed out that this wasn't just about bad planning. It was about a lack of respect and a failure to take responsibility.
Did he apologize?
They noted that Vijay hadn't even offered a formal apology for the inconveniences and insults suffered by the community.
So let's put the puzzle pieces together. When you place Julie's critique about the bull metaphor alongside the horrific Karur stampede and the culturally insensitive iftar controversy, a very clear, very concerning pattern emerges.
What do you see?
The TVK leadership appears highly skilled at generating enthusiasm, manipulating media, and crafting grand cinematic narratives. But they appear fundamentally lacking in the basic administrative machinery required to manage massive crowds, respect cultural nuances, and most importantly, ensure public safety.
And Julie articulated that.
Julie, armed with nothing but a smartphone camera and a history of activism, managed to articulate this systemic failure perfectly.
And the digital swarm attacked her with such ferocity precisely because they couldn't attack the truth of what she was saying.
Right.
They couldn't say, no, our rallies are perfectly safe because 41 people were dead. They could say, no, our events are culturally respectful because the Jamaat had filed a police complaint. So they attacked her face, her past, and her marriage.
It is a fascinating, if depressing, look at modern deflection tactics.
Truly.
This brings us to the ultimate question as we look toward the future of this political landscape, specifically the upcoming 2026 elections. How is the electorate processing all of this? Let's look at the digital divide, because how people are reacting to this online tells us everything about the fractured nature of truth in the digital age.
The academic source provides a brilliant, granular analysis of how different digital platforms reacted to the Vijay-Julie clash, highlighting a stark digital divide.
So YouTube versus Reddit.
Yes. If you look at YouTube, which the paper identifies as representing the vocal majority, the sentiment is overwhelmingly, almost monolithically pro-Vijay.
It's an echo chamber of pure adoration. On YouTube, you see heavy, uncritical praise for the Kudi story, massive alignment with his cinematic aura, and harsh, unyielding condemnation of Julie.
They bought the narrative.
The commenters there fully bought into the narrative that Sanam Shetty exposed Julie and that Arun Rajan heroically put her in her place.
YouTube algorithms tend to reward high engagement, and fan armies are incredibly efficient at driving up likes, views, and coordinated comments to dominate the narrative space.
But then there's Reddit.
Yes, if you shift your gaze to platforms like Reddit, specifically the Big Bostomol subreddit, which operates with a different demographic and a different algorithmic structure, you find what the paper calls the silent minority. The discussion there is vastly more nuanced and significantly more critical.
It really is. I was reading through those Reddit threads, and it's fascinating. It's not that they love Julie. They definitely mocked her past. They talked about her Botox. But amid the mockery, many users grudgingly admitted a hard, uncomfortable truth.
More of the same.
One user wrote, "Jallikattu, tragically, Julie is making more sense than Vijay Anna." Another said, "Finally, someone speaking facts. Thank you."
This is the crux of the digital divide. The Reddit users, while perhaps not fans of Julie personally, were able to separate the messenger from the message. They recognized the undeniable validity of her safety warning.
And they saw the bigger picture.
But more importantly, they raised a critical ideological question that strikes at the core of TVK's branding. That they asked, how can a party like TVK, which explicitly claims to represent progressive, modern Gen Z values, allow its supporters to utilize the most regressive, patriarchal, misogynistic harassment tactics to silence a female critic?
It is the ultimate hypocrisy. Vijay is out there giving these soaring speeches about fighting corruption, fighting the old school dirty politics of the DMK, and bringing in a new era of pure power.
But look at his supporters.
Yet his supporters, the very people meant to usher in this new era, are using the oldest, dirtiest trick in the book: bullying a woman into silence through coordinated, systemic harassment.
This raises the most important question for TVK's future. The transition from actor to leader mandates a fundamental shift from telling stories to taking responsibility.
Accountability.
Yes. If Vijay cannot or will not control his own digital militia when they viciously attack a citizen for raising a valid safety concern, how can the electorate trust him to govern a complex, massive state like Tamil Nadu? Governance requires managing dissent, absorbing criticism, and course correcting. It does not mean crushing every dissenting voice with a digital mob.
And why should you care about a political spat in Tamil Nadu? Maybe you're listening from halfway across the world and you've never seen a Tamil movie or heard of Jallikattu.
Why does it matter?
You should care, because this is a pristine, terrifying case study in modern media literacy. It demonstrates in real time how digital echo chambers are weaponized by the powerful. It shows how incredibly valid life-saving critiques like, hey, don't encourage kids to play with wild bulls when we already have a track record of deadly rallies, are intentionally buried under an avalanche of ad hominem attacks.
It perfectly illustrates how easily we, as a global society, conflate a person's ability to entertain us with their ability to govern us safely. We project the immense competence, bravery, and moral clarity of the characters they play on screen onto the flawed humans they actually are.
And when that illusion breaks.
When that cinematic illusion is shattered by reality, whether by a critic's video pointing out a logical flaw or a tragic stampede exposing administrative failure, The resulting cognitive dissonance is painful. And for a deeply devoted fandom, that dissonance often manifests as pure rage directed at the messenger.
Attacking the person, not the argument. It's a tactic used everywhere, from local school board meetings to national presidential elections. So, let's briefly recap this incredible, complex journey we've been on.
It's been a lot.
We started with a cinematic Cuddy story at a political rally about a young boy effortlessly taming a raging bull. That grand metaphor led to a reality star issuing a stark, reality grounded warning about physical safety.
Then the backlash.
That single warning ignited an explosion of toxic digital harassment, misogyny, and coordinated proxy warfare. And all of this occurred against the haunting, tragic backdrop of 41 lives lost in a stampede and administrative failures at an iftar event.
It is a comprehensive, multifaceted look at the friction points of modern democracy, a space where celebrity worship, social media algorithms, and tangible life or death political consequences violently collide.
As we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a final, provocative thought to mull over on your own. Consider the algorithms that govern our digital lives and our entertainment. For decades, film stars built their massive, lucrative empires on a foundation of unilateral adoration.
A one-way street.
It was a one-way street of love flowing from the fan in the dark theater up to the idol sitting there on the silver screen. The star speaks, the fan applauds.
But democracy is fundamentally different. Democracy is a two-way street built entirely on friction, debate, questioning, and dissent.
Right. So when a megastar steps out of the cinema and into the political arena, the very algorithmic devotion that built their entertainment empire might actually become the ultimate threat to their political legitimacy.
The double-edged sword.
If an idol is so heavily protected by their echo chamber that they cannot survive a single logical question from a commoner without their digital army attacking, are they truly ready to answer to the public?
It's a profound question that every celebrity seeking political office must eventually face. And more importantly, it's a question every voter must ask themselves before casting their ballot for a savior.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning the narratives you are fed, look past the cinematic metaphors, and always demand accountability, whether it's from seasoned politicians or silver screen saviors. Until next time.